Hi, a very good afternoon to everyone. So, my name is Smriti Shah, and I'm a faculty of Indian Society, Ethics, Essay, Social Justice, and Sociology test series as well. So, yes, there are a lot of areas, and I've been associated with Vision since 2011. So now it has been a considerable period, not just because of the association with Vision, but also mentoring a good amount of students over past so many years. So based on my experience, largely about the students who have got success in this examination, and also the experience of those students who, despite the efforts, unfortunately could not find success in this particular examination, there is one thing which I have observed and which can actually be very relevant if I quote Albert Einstein here, that everyone should know the rules of the game, and then you have to play it better than everyone else. So just knowing the rules of the game is not enough. You should also know that how you have to play that game better than everyone else. Because if you are clear with the stages of this examination, you would know that the cutoff is not set by UPSC. Cutoff is set by the fellow aspirants. If they are not good enough, cutoff automatically declines. And if they are extremely good enough, the cutoff will automatically increase. So it is not UPSC which is setting the standards, it is the aspirants who are setting the standard for this examination. So if you have to be safely in the list, you just have to put your best foot forward. Now, having said that, I think so far you have the clarity. There are 3 stages for this examination. We have prelims, mains, and interview. Now, the first thing which I have observed, since I told you that we should know the rules of this game better, the first thing which I have observed is the problem lies with the attitude of the aspirant. Everyone here is concerned about prelims. They believe that if you prepare for prelims, you are already an IAS officer, without realizing that there are 3 stages. And if you falter at any one stage, or even if your name is in the list, but you did not get the desirable rank, even then you have to start from the stage 1. It is not like the exam of CA, although I'm quoting the example here. CA में होता है ना, एक stage clear हो गई तो clear हो गई, thank God. In fact, अगर एक किसी paper में भी marks अच्छे आ जाते हैं तो वो paper भी आपको दोबारा नहीं देना पड़ता. UPSC is brutal in that sense. Even if you are in the list and you want to sit for the examination for rank improvement, you again have to give your prelims. And there is no guarantee that you qualify the prelims. So having said that, the first rule is that we have the problem with the attitude, we prepare only for prelims. The second major problem is we believe let's prepare for mains once we clear prelims. So let us suppose you've cleared prelims. Congratulations for that. But then you have 2.5 months. And that is too less a time to prepare for mains. So chances or the probability of you writing prelims next year is very high. But the probability of clearing prelims with certainty is definitely very low. So what I believe is that if you clear prelims, which is the goddess being on your side that year. So if you clear prelims, make sure you find your name in the list that year. Because I have seen students who are giving interviews, but for the next year, they are not even able to qualify prelims. So what I mean here is be mains ready before you are appearing for your prelims. That's the first rule of this examination. Now the second rule. that you should know that if you want to clear mains, I have been saying this without any doubt in my mind, there are 3 papers which will guarantee whether you clear this exam or not. One is your essay, second is your ethics, and third is your optional. So if you nail these 3 papers, only then there is a guarantee that you will be getting the desirable rank. Otherwise, either you're not getting selected, or if getting selected, the rank is not very desirable. So there are 3 papers which is absolutely indispensable when it comes down to the stage of mains. That's first rule. The second rule about the mains examination is, if you have to be good with your essay, if you have to be good with your ethics, there is one small section which needs to be prepared well, and that is society. If you do not prepare your society well, then nailing the paper of ethics and essay would be extremely challenging. And why am I saying this? Because society constitutes the foundation of your thought process. Now, let me ask a very basic question. Are we aware about Indian society? We live in it. So can I assume that we are aware about Indian society? I'm not asking you to give me the academic answer. All I'm saying is that you're just aware what your society looks like. अच्छा इतना पता है? जिस society में आप खुद रहते हैं, ठीक है? So someone has a basic idea. So let me just ask you one very basic question. Why UPSC wants you to study Indian society? Anybody wants to contribute to that? Okay, fine, absolutely fine. Because it is absolutely ultimately Indian society which you are going to be administering, where you are going to serve the people. So absolutely it is important for us to at least know what are the nuances about Indian society. I'll take that point. Anyone else? Why Indian society? Why UPSC wants us to focus on this portion? Absolutely. Ethics किस level पे implement होता है? Societal level. पॉलिटी कहाँ अप्लाई करोगे? यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड कहाँ अप्लाई करोगे? रिजर्वेशन कहाँ लगाओगे? लॉ किसके लिए बना रहे हो? So it is very important to understand the basic understanding of society, because every other aspect is going to influence society or is going to get influenced by the society. Anything else? Okay, basic question. Is there a problem of violence against women in India? Is there a problem of caste-based politicization in India? Is there a problem of violence against marginalized section? Or let us say regionalism, conflict among the people? So can I say there are considerable problems in the society? If you are not aware about these problems, how will you provide the solution? Your job is to provide the solution to all the existing problems in our society. But having said that, the most important thing which I have observed why UPSC is expecting us to study Indian society is to develop a thought process, is to develop a perspective. Okay, let me ask a very basic question. Is everyone aware, not the academic understanding, just the normal understanding, what is Uniform Civil Code? एक बेसिक आइडिया है यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड का कि एक कॉमन सेट ऑफ लॉज वुड बी एप्लीकेबल ऑन एवरीवन विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू देयर पर्सनल लाइफ, मैरिज, डिवोर्स, अडॉप्शन, ठीक है? सो देयर आर 2 sections who are divided. Let me put it 3 sections. So how many of you are in favor of uniform civil code? A camera is not focusing on you. You can answer. Fine. How many of you are against uniform civil code? And what about the remaining, which is the majority? Did you get my point, what I'm trying to say here? Perspective. मैं आपको ये बता सकती हूँ यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड क्या है. मैं आपको ये भी बता सकती हूँ कि सोचो कितना इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है, इसमें कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मैंडेट है, आर्टिकल 44 ऑफ आवर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, एंड वी कैन अज्यूम दैट वी ऑल आर 18+ एटलीस्ट यहाँ पर, एंड स्टिल वी आर नॉट अवेयर about our perspective, whether we should support or we should be against. But what I like about all of you is your honesty, that at least you did not give me uninformed answer. whether you were favoring it or you were against it. But when you were not sure, you did not answer anything, which is a good sign. कि at least uninformed participation नहीं हो रहा है इस debate में. Is this very clear for everyone? So why it is important to study Indian society? It will make you closer to the society in which you are living. You will develop a perspective. I'll give you a very basic example. Have you heard about tribals? मतलब पढ़ाई लिखाई नहीं, सिर्फ नॉर्मली सुना है, ठीक है? तो हम ये कह सकते हैं ट्राइबल्स में देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम ऑफ लिटरेसी, देयर इज प्रॉब्लम ऑफ हेल्थ, देयर इज प्रॉब्लम ऑफ डिस्प्लेसमेंट, देयर कल्चर इज गेटिंग डाइल्यूटेड. आप सबको प्रॉब्लम पता है, ठीक है? लेकिन अगर पर्सपेक्टिव नहीं होगा, you will not be able to provide the solution to these problems. I'll give you an example to explain. There are largely three perspectives. Just an example. There is one section, let us suppose he says that isolation should be followed. Tribals are special people, they should be kept in isolation in order to preserve their culture. I said, okay. The second person said, nahi, they should be brought within the fold of our society. They should be completely assimilated in our society so that their individual culture is lost. The third party says, nahi, they should be brought within the fold of Indian society, but their culture should be preserved. Now, which perspective you adopt will decide what solution you are going to provide to their problems. Did you get my point? So it is very important to develop a perspective. I will teach you what is reservation. Whether reservation should be there or should not be there, that's the perspective that you need to develop. Having said that, always remember, don't go against anything which has a constitutional mandate. Because you are not a common man who will say, अरे होना चाहिए reservation, अरे नहीं होना चाहिए reservation, अरे UCC होना चाहिए, अरे नहीं होना चाहिए. You are no longer a common man. You are a civil services aspirant who is going to be the future officer in the time being. So in that context, every statement that you make has to be very responsible. Is it making sense for everyone? So on this note, let's start with Indian society. Now, what we are going to talk about in this session very briefly is three things: why, what and how. ये basic rule होता है. Why में, why we are studying Indian society, I think we have discussed. The second important aspect है पढ़ाई लिखाई अपनी जगह, थोड़ा business की बात कर लेते हैं. वैसे बनिया दिमाग है तो business की बात करेंगे. Paper important है. Factually क्यों important है? क्योंकि GS paper 1 में there are 6 questions every year from Indian society. So approximately 90 marks in GS paper 1 is from Indian society. In GS paper 2, there will be 4 questions every year, social justice. So again, that is nothing but the application of Indian society. So all in all, you will be having 125 to 150 marks questions in GS paper 1 and GS paper 2. तो ये यहाँ खत्म नहीं होता. Then comes GS paper 4. If you do not have the understanding of society, you cannot write good answers in ethics. And ethics altogether is a different paper worth 250 marks. So that is the amount which is riding on this section of Indian society. Most importantly, essay. Every year, कहीं और से आए या नहीं आए, इंडियन सोसाइटी से ऐसे आता ही आता है. Even if the trend changes and there is a topic which is philosophical in nature, you still cannot write the examples of this philosophical essay if you do not have command over Indian society. But the most important relevance, if you ask me as a mentor, what I think is the beauty of this paper is with minimum effort you get maximum rewards. You don't have to study some 40-50 lectures in Indian society. 20 lectures, done and dusted. So the best part about Indian society is you have to read less, you have to apply more. So that's the good thing about this paper. Is that very clear? Now let us talk about how to prepare Indian society. So how we are going to prepare Indian society is, there are 4 aspects which I believe is very important. One is my syllabus. Second is my PYQs. Third is my note making. And fourth would be my answer writing. Now you would be like, what's so special about syllabus? वो तो सभी बताते हैं. हाँ, एक स्पेशलिटी है यहाँ पे, क्योंकि कोई स्टैंडर्ड बुक नहीं है. We don't have a Lakshmikant for Indian society. So the point here is, since we do not have a standard book, deconstruction of the syllabus is very important. Now let me tell you how we are going to deconstruct. You'll get a better understanding. This is the syllabus that we have. Read the first point, salient feature of Indian society. ये कह के यूपीएससी ने पल्ला झाड़ दिया. अब खुद सोचो, what are the salient feature? They can ask you anything. They asked us a question on joint family. They asked us a question on caste system. Is caste system and joint family anywhere mentioned in the syllabus? That is what is known as deconstruction of the syllabus. You have to now deconstruct what exactly salient feature of Indian society stands for. Do we understand the term salient? Anyone? Important? Unique? Okay. So, can you tell me what are salient feature of Indian society? Anyone who would like to contribute? कुछ भी. आपकी society के unique features क्या हैं? Unity in diversity, absolutely brilliant. So one, the salient feature is diversity. And second, the salient feature is unity in diversity. I'll take this point. What else? Culture. So cultural diversity, again, I'll take that point. Anything else? Population. That's not unique. There are other countries also. But you can say the diverse population. But other countries are also there. They are closely competing with us, but that is okay. But the point here is, yes, I'll take this point in a slighter, different manner, demography. Let's put it this way. Because the characteristic of the population is very diverse. Anything else? Can I say caste system? Secularism, the kind of secularism which is practiced in our society is very different from other countries. So did you realize joint family? Joint family for that matter, caste system for that matter, patriarchy, the manner it is practiced in our society, secularism for that matter, these are nothing but the salient feature. Do you realize we are expanding the the ambit of this section? That topic kya diya tha? Salient feature. But we have widened the ambit by deconstructing the syllabus. I'll give you one more example to give you better understanding that how we can deconstruct the syllabus. For example, effect of globalization on Indian society. That is the topic which was there in your syllabus. Let's divide it in two parts. One is the structure and other is the culture. Do we realize that UPSC has given just one thing, impact of globalization on Indian society? Anything under the sun can be asked. So let's make our work easier. Let's divide it as impact on the structure and impact on the culture. Now let us further divide it. Impact on the sections and impact on the institutions. I'm just giving you one example, how to deconstruct. In sections, we can add women, we can add old age. Let us say we are adding middle class. We can add youth. And you can go so on and on, whichever section you intend to add. Similarly, institution, let's add family. Let's add caste. Let's add marriage. Let's add religion. Let's add media. And again, we can go on and on. This is how you are deconstructing your syllabus. You are getting an idea that how this topic needs to be prepared. Similarly, if I have to answer the impact on culture, let's divide it in three parts. Homogenization, hybridization, and revival of local culture. And you will. Why am I giving you this deconstruction is I want to show that how through this deconstruction you can solve every problem, every question in the PYQ. So what is important is deconstruction of the syllabus. Now very briefly, इसमें कोई भी rocket science नहीं है. Homogenization मतलब common culture. For example, McDonaldization of food habits. Pizza burger culture promote हो रहा है? Okay, let me put it in your words. Starbucks culture. Starbucks की coffee नहीं पी तो मतलब coffee ही नहीं पी. So that is homogenization. Obsession with Game of Thrones. That is nothing but homogenization. Obsession with English language. If you can't speak English, that means you are not intellectual. Without realizing, it's just a language of communication. Jeans culture. That's an example of homogenization. Everyone is wearing nowadays jeans. And jeans is the culture from West. Do we understand the point? Hybridization, mixing the two culture. McDonald's going vegetarian during Navratri. McDonald's not selling beef products. Our lecture, English, Hindi plus English. This is nothing but hybridization. Netflix India. That is nothing but hybridization. Revival of local culture. For example, International Yoga Day. Or education in mother tongue. So all I'm just trying to say is, where do you get these points? You get these points when you deconstruct your syllabus. Until and unless you don't learn the art of deconstruction, solving the questions in society can be challenging. और उसका reason ये नहीं है कि content difficult है, absolutely not. ये तो daily life की कहानी है. The problem is syllabus is very brief. So you have to explore the syllabus. Is that very clear for everyone? ठीक है. Now, if we follow this tactic, we will slowly and gradually able to deconstruct every aspect in the syllabus. Every topic in the syllabus needs to be deconstructed. So I'm not going for deconstruction of every topic. I just wanted to give you an idea that this is how we need to proceed. Now, once you have learned the art of deconstruction of the syllabus, the second most important step that you have to take is PYQ. Now, why PYQ is important? If I would have been in the place of the student, irrespective whatever I've been taught, irrespective whatever I've been studying, one thing, I will study my syllabus. I will not just go through it, I will study it so that I can identify everything which is hidden in the syllabus. And once I have done that, I will go through my PYQs. You are very lucky. You have a resource or a data bank of past 11 years. Think about those students who were writing 2013, 14, 15. They in fact did not have a reference point only that what kind of questions UPSC can ask. You have 11 years ka data bank. You exactly have an idea what kind of questions UPSC can ask. Is that very clear? Now, one thing I have noticed, PYQs help you to understand what questions can be asked. Second, it can help us to understand what are the important themes. Based on my understanding, I have noticed women is their favorite topic. If it is asked in GS, good enough. If not, then it would be asked in essay. But there is a question on women. Tribals is their favorite topic. Globalization is their favorite topic. Diversity in India is their favorite topic. These are the recurrent themes which are asked every year. Then there are certain topics, for example, caste, for example, regionalism, for example, secularism. Every alternate years, these topics are asked. How do I know this? PYQ. So PYQ helps you to prioritize that if these are the topics in my syllabus, which are the topics which cannot be left under any circumstances. Most importantly, UPSC repeats the question. I'm not saying theme. I'm saying they repeat the question. So if you prepare your PYQ once, you are sorted. So only piece of advice, do not enter your mains examination hall until and unless you have not answered every PYQ. Because PYQ will give you an idea, and if you are lucky enough, the questions can be repeated. Is that very clear? And the moment you solve your PYQ, you can also gauge your preparation level. How well prepared. पता है मेजर दिक्कत क्या आती है? चाहे मेंस हो चाहे प्रीलिम्स हो, हम मॉक्स नहीं देते, हम PYQ सॉल्व नहीं करते, तो हम अपने ही बबल में रह रहे होते हैं. That we are well prepared. The moment we solve the questions, we actually get a reality check how well we are prepared. Is that very clear? Okay. Now, as far as PYQs are concerned, I just want to help you to understand few trends. मैं आपको question answer नहीं discuss करूंगी. I'll just help you what kind of questions UPSC is asking. Just read the first question. Discuss the various social problems which originated out of speedy process of urbanization in India. आंसर नहीं ढूंढ रहे हम लोग, बिल्कुल भी नहीं. The point here is urbanization. पता है क्या होता है? When we move from rural to urban area. Is it a positive concept or a negative concept or a neutral concept? हाँ, ये point अच्छा पकड़ा इसने. Depends upon the perspective. But largely it's a positive phenomena. It's a sign of progress. It's a sign of growth. But UPSC ने क्या पूछा? What are the challenges associated with urbanization? So when something is looking very positive, you should always prepare a counter argument because you never know what UPSC is going to ask. I'll make it simpler for you. Have you heard about child labor? है ना? Is child labor positive or negative? Hands down negative. ठीक है, इसमें कोई पर्सपेक्टिव नहीं, ये क्लियर है एकदम कि चाइल्ड लेबर, ये नहीं कह देना कि काम घर में पैसे आ रहे हैं, वो बात अलग है, बट चाइल्ड लेबर हैंड्स डाउन इज नेगेटिव. सो अबॉलिशिंग चाइल्ड लेबर, इज इट पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव? पॉजिटिव, हैंड्स डाउन. इफ यूपीएससी आस्क यू द क्वेश्चन, व्हाट आर द नेगेटिव कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज ऑफ अबॉलिशिंग चाइल्ड लेबर? That does not mean that UPSC is saying we should not abolish child labor. UPSC wants you to be prepared. What are the threats associated with abolition of child labor so that you can be prepared beforehand in order to address those threats. Did you get my point, what I'm trying to explain? So don't just read the question, read the pattern in the question, that how they are wanting you to prepare the counter arguments. Similarly, read the second question. I'm telling you the second trend. Why do some of the most prosperous region in India has adverse sex ratio for women? Sex ratio समझते? Number of female per thousand male. ठीक है? Adverse का मतलब है number of females are less than the number of males. अब यूपीएससी ने क्वेश्चन पूछा, why do some of the prosperous region has adverse sex ratio? ये क्वेश्चन आता कहां से है? ये क्वेश्चन आता है रिपोर्ट से. जैसे सेंसस की रिपोर्ट होती है, अब सेंसस ने डेटा दिया होगा कि जो सेक्स रेशियो है वो कुछ अच्छे रीजन्स में एडवर्स है, तो यूपीएससी ने डेटा पे सवाल नहीं पूछा, यूपीएससी ने पूछा ये डेटा क्यों है. So the second trend is the moment you read any data, do not stop there. That's the beginning point. Understand what is the cause behind that data and what can be the implication of that data. I can prove my point further. Just hold. Read the third question. How do you explain the statistics which shows sex ratio in tribes is more favorable to women than sex ratio among scheduled caste? Census की रिपोर्ट थी कि शेड्यूल कास्ट में सेक्स रेशियो 945 था और शेड्यूल ट्राइब्स में 990 था. उन्होंने आपसे ये नहीं पूछा कि सेक्स रेशियो क्या था, उन्होंने ये पूछा कि ये डेटा क्यों है. सो द मोमेंट यू रीड द डेटा, इट्स अ एडवाइस, इट्स अ रिक्वेस्ट, please study the cause and the implication of that data. It will hardly take 5 minutes, but you are prepared for the answer. Is it making sense for everyone? Similarly, the last question, the debate on secularism, ad verbatim, the question was repeated in 2018. तो अगर PYQ देखा था तो आप prepared होते question के लिए and chances of answering that would have been better. Ad verbatim, अभी हम देख लेंगे. So it was repeated. Next. Let's read the question here, the first question. To what extent globalization has influenced the core of cultural diversity in India? Can I say globalization has completely diluted the cultural diversity because there is homogenization happening? And then I can say, no, it has not diluted because there is hybridization and revival of local culture. वो स्टैंडर्ड तरीका है क्वेश्चन पूछने का और अभी मैं प्रूफ कर दूंगी. इसके बाद 4 और क्वेश्चन आए और चारों इसी लाइंस पे थे. सो द क्वेश्चन चेंज्ड, आंसर रिमेन्ड द सेम. That's the recurrent theme which is being asked. Let me show it to you. Read the second question. Globalization is generally said to promote cultural homogenization, but due to this cultural specificity, is getting strengthened in Indian society? Can we answer the question if we have studied that flow chart? Homogenization हो रहा है? नहीं. Specificity strengthen हो रही है. कैसे हो रही है? Hybridization and revival of local culture. So if you prepare your flow charts, you will never falter. See the last question. How is Indian concept of secularism different from Western model? I told you the question was repeated. So 2014 and 2018, the question was repeated. Now read the first question. What makes Indian society unique in sustaining its culture? The same question was repeated in 2021. So the point here is repeated questions, it is a norm. If you prepare well your PYQs, chances of answering the question is very high. Read the last question. Are we losing our local identity for global identity? Yes, we are losing. How? Homogenization. No, we are not losing. How? Hybridization and revival of local culture. Did you understand my point? Question changes, answer remains the same. So that is how you have to keep these things in mind. Next. Do we have something? Fourth question. Is diversity and pluralism in India under threat due to globalization? Yes. Homogenization. No. Hybridization and revival of local culture. Pluralism matlab the cultural diversity, the multiple cultures. Did we get the point? Is it making sense? Okay. Next, read the last question. How does Indian society maintain continuity in traditional social values? Enumerate the changes taking place in it. Is it the same question which was asked in 2019? That how Indian society is maintaining the continuity in its value system and culture. So again, the questions are getting repeated. But if you personally ask me, my favorite is 2023 paper. There is a reason. Every question can be answered by impact of globalization on Indian society. Read the question. Do you think marriage as a sacrament matlab the ritual aspect of marriage, is losing its value in modern India? Impact of globalization on marriage. Second, explain why suicide among young women is increasing in Indian society. Impact of globalization on women. Child cuddling is now being replaced by mobile phones. Discuss its impact on socialization of children. Impact of technology on socialization. And technology is the result of globalization. Does urbanization is leading to marginalization? Urbanization is a result of globalization. So what is the impact of globalization on urban areas? Why caste identity in India is both fluid and static? Impact of globalization on caste system. And last, discuss the impact. ये तो question ही वही है. Post-liberal economy on ethnic identity and communalism. कहने का मतलब है जब सोसाइटी पढ़ेंगे तो थोड़े दिनों में समझ आएगा कि घूम फिर के सबका ठीकड़ा हम ग्लोबलाइजेशन पे फोड़ेंगे. तो घूम फिर के एवरीथिंग इज द रिजल्ट ऑफ ग्लोबलाइजेशन. थोड़ा कम थोड़ा ज्यादा. बट दैट डज नॉट मीन दैट ग्लोबलाइजेशन हैज कंप्लीटली ऑल्टर्ड अस. देयर आर सम थिंग्स व्हिच आर कंटिन्यूइंग, देयर आर सम थिंग्स व्हिच हैज अंडरवेंट अ चेंज. सो बेस्ड ऑन दैट, इफ आई हैव टू गिव यू अ फाइनल टेक अवे, आई वुड जस्ट से, if you prepare any topic, for that matter, let us say you prepare a topic of caste system, or you prepare a topic of marriage, or any topic that you prepare it under 3 heads. What is the traditional caste system? What have been the forces of change? And what is the contemporary reality? And you are done with it. हो ही नहीं सकता कि इसके बाहर पूछ ले. What were the traditional attributes of marriage? Characteristic feature. What were the forces of change? And what is the contemporary reality about marriage? Is that very clear? I'll give you a very small example. Marriage का characteristic attribute था कि we had arranged marriages. Over the period of time, because of globalization, because of getting exposure on social media, because of better networking, we switched towards love marriages. People started finding their own partners. But now there is a new development, confluent marriages. लव अंटिल फर्दर नोटिस। कहने का तात्पर्य है चाहे अरेंज मैरिज हो चाहे लव मैरिज हो, 7 जन्म का कॉन्सेप्ट थोड़ा बैकफुट पे आ गया है। सो द पॉइंट हियर इज क्यों? बिकॉज ऑफ ग्लोबलाइजेशन पीपल आर गेटिंग मोर एक्सपोजर टू सोशल मीडिया. Somewhere deep down the line, the ritual aspect is declining. Divorce and separation are increasing. So people don't mind getting out of a marital relations. Did you get my point? तो basic idea. अब एक point है ये, आंसर नहीं है, एक point है, लेकिन किसके अंदर आ रहा है? ट्रेडिशनल कैरेक्टरिस्टिक क्या थे, फोर्सेस ऑफ चेंज क्या है, कॉन्टेम्पररी रियलिटी. कोई भी टॉपिक न्यूज़पेपर से उठाओ, इसको 3 हेडिंग्स में डालो, योर कंटेंट इज प्रिपेयर्ड. बिकॉज इसके बियॉन्ड नहीं आएगा. दैट्स अ ट्रेंड, दैट्स अ स्ट्रैटेजी ऑफ आस्किंग द question. They want to know whether you know the traditional part, whether you know what are the forces of change, whether you know what is the contemporary reality. And if you know that much, you are done with this paper. Is it making sense for everyone? Once we are done with it, the next important thing is notes making. वो क्यों important है? क्योंकि यार फिर कोई standard book नहीं है. लेकिन एक चीज यहाँ पे add on करूंगी. You guys are the beginners, right? The first thing which we expect is read class 12th NCRTs. There are 2 NCRTs. One is Indian Society and second is Social Change and Development. ये basic reading है, ये करनी पड़ेगी, ठीक है? But जब आप book पढ़ोगे तो आप notes नहीं बनाओगे, क्योंकि book UPSC के हिसाब से नहीं लिखी गई है. Book generally school students के लिए लिखी गई है who have chosen sociology, right? So you just have to read Indian Society and Social Change and Development. But note making ऐसे नहीं होगा. Note making होता है first step, you have deconstructed the syllabus. जैसे अभी हमने example दिया था, effect of globalization, आपको framework मिल गया. अब आप पहला टॉपिक उठाओ, women पे क्या impact है. फिर आप उठाओ ओल्ड एज पे क्या इंपैक्ट है. जब आप डिस्कस कर रहे हो पॉजिटिव इंपैक्ट एंड नेगेटिव इंपैक्ट, अब पॉजिटिव लिख रहे हो तो सोशल इंपैक्ट, पॉलिटिकल इंपैक्ट, इकोनॉमिक इंपैक्ट. बट ये नोट्स आपको तैयार करने. Either you refer to classroom notes, otherwise if you're preparing on your own, you have to prepare the notes. मैं आपको बस स्ट्रैटेजी बता रही हूं नोट मेकिंग कैसे करनी है. सपोज करो बेसिक नोट्स तैयार हो गए, then I will pick my PYQs. Am I able to solve all the PYQs or not? There would be 1 or 2 questions which we are not able to solve. तो क्योंकि maybe the content is missing. So that content has to be added in your notes. Is that very clear? And the last thing is the icing on the cake. See, ये 2 + 2 4 वाला सिस्टम तो है नहीं. ये कोई मैथ्स तो है नहीं कि अगर आंसर सही है तो सबको मार्क्स बराबर मिलेंगे. हो सकता है you've written a decent answer, you've written a right answer, yet no 2 people will be getting the same marks. यहां पे डिपेंड करेगा हाउ मच यू हैव एडेड वैल्यू टू योर आंसर राइटिंग. कितना डेटा है, कितना अच्छे आर्ग्यूमेंट्स यूज करे हैं, प्रेजेंटेशन में डायग्राम्स यूज करे हैं या नहीं करे हैं, फ्लो चार्ट्स यूज करे हैं या नहीं करे हैं. द मोर यू वर्क ऑन द प्रेजेंटेशन, द मोर यू आर गोइंग टू फेच मार्क्स. And one of my friends who cleared this exam in the very first attempt, she told me one very good thing. She's like, Smriti, I have a very small target in my life. I said, what is your target? She said, I just want to write every answer in a manner that I fetch 1 extra mark. That's it. Normally, I would have written an answer. What should I do in this answer that 1 extra marks is given to me? Can I add a quotation? Can I add a diagram? Can I add a table? What should I do? That 1 extra thing that gives me the marks. There is a very famous poem by Robert Frost. 2 roads diverged in the wood, and I took the one less traveled, and that made all the difference. So no matter how common the strategies are, these are the strategies for almost every topper. But in these strategies, they add their own touch. That uniqueness has to be added by you. अब आप बोलोगे मैम ये सब होगा कैसे? इसका भी तरीका बता देती हूँ, सबसे आसान तरीका. विजन आईएएस के प्रीवियस ईयर के जो मेंस के क्वेश्चंस होते हैं मार्केट में अवेलेबल है, उठा लो. अब क्या हुआ, एक बार यूपी मतलब विजन की कोई टेस्ट सीरीज थी, पुरानी टेस्ट सीरीज, उसमें उन्होंने एक क्वेश्चन दिया, मैल न्यूट्रिशन इज अ साइलेंट असैसिन विच नॉट ओनली इंपैक्ट्स द इंडिविजुअल बट ऑल्सो द नेशन बिकॉज इट क्रिएट्स एन आर्मी ऑफ सिक पीपल. ये क्वेश्चन दिया था विजन आईएएस ने. अब ये क्वेश्चन तो यूपीएससी एग्जैक्टली पूछेगा नहीं, बट ये स्टेटमेंट उठा लिया मैंने वहां से कि अब अगर मैल न्यूट्रिशन पे सवाल आया तो ये स्टेटमेंट या तो मेरा इंट्रोडक्शन होगा या मेरा कंक्लूजन होगा. काम आसान करते हैं लाइफ में, ठीक है. फिर क्या हुआ, एक कोटेशन पढ़ रही थी मैं, एक बड़े फेमस स्कॉलर है एंड्रे बेते. उन्होंने एक बड़ी कमाल की कोट लिखी, उन्होंने बोला कि लॉ डिटरमाइंस द डायरेक्शन इन विच सोसाइटी शुड मूव, बट इट इज द कल्चर विच डिटरमाइंस द डायरेक्शन इन विच सोसाइटी एक्चुअली मूव्स। ये कोट मुझे इतनी काम की लगी, मैंने सोचा जब यूपीएससी लॉ पे सवाल पूछेगा ना, ये मेरा कंक्लूजन होगा। यूपीएससी ने पूछ लिया, डिस्पाइट इंक्रीज इन लीगल प्रोविजंस वायलेंस अगेंस्ट विमेन इज ऑन द राइज, क्योंकि लॉज आर डिटरमाइनिंग द डायरेक्शन इन विच सोसाइटी शुड मूव, इट इज द कल्चर विच इज पेट्रियार्कल विच डिटरमाइंस द डायरेक्शन इन विच सोसाइटी एक्चुअली मूव्स। डिड यू गेट द पॉइंट? तो जितना यू विल स्वेट मोर इन पीस, द लेस यू विल ब्लीड इन वॉर। तो तैयारी ऐसी होनी चाहिए कि जिस साल प्री निकले उस साल रैंक आनी चाहिए, और तैयारी के लिए दीज आर द वैल्यू एडिशन। नहीं तो सबको पता है विमेन की क्या प्रॉब्लम है, सबको पता है कास्ट का क्या रोल है पॉलिटिक्स में, आप ऐसा क्या लिख रहे हो दैट योर आंसर इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम अदर्स। सो चाहे वो कोटेशंस हो, चाहे वो स्टेटमेंट्स हो, चाहे वो डेटा हो, चाहे वो डायग्राम्स हो, फ्लो चार्ट्स हो, टेबल्स हो, जस्ट ऐड मोर वेराइटी टू योर कंटेंट एंड यू आर डन। But having said that, ultimately what you need to practice is answer writing. तो एक और एडवाइस देती हूँ, टॉपर स्क्रिप्ट। सब कुछ, ये जितनी भी एडवाइस है सारी फ्री में मिल जाएगी। विजन के पोर्टल पे जाओ, वहाँ पे एक रिसोर्स पोर्टल है, उसमें टॉपर्स की स्क्रिप्ट है। टॉपर्स की स्क्रिप्ट उठाने से दो फायदे होते हैं, एक आइडिया मिलता है और दूसरा वैलिडेशन मिलता है, वट एवर यू आर डूइंग वेदर इट इज राइट और नॉट, बिकॉज देन यू गेट दैट वैलिडेशन कि अरे ये तो मैं वही कर रहा हूं जो इन्होंने किया था, इनका सिलेक्शन हुआ है तो मेरा भी होगा। सो दैट वैलिडेशन, अ सेंस ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस आता है। इज दैट वेरी क्लियर? बट अल्टीमेटली आंसर राइटिंग आपको करनी है। तो विदाउट आंसर राइटिंग, अच्छा अब आप ये मत सोचना अरे अभी तो मैंने कुछ पढ़ा ही नहीं है तो मैं आंसर राइटिंग कैसे करूं, क्योंकि बेटा कभी पढ़ाई पूरी होगी ही नहीं। ये ग्रेजुएशन का एग्जाम तो है नहीं। जैसे मैं आपको अपनी सबसे बड़ी गलती बताती हूँ, मैं दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी से हूँ, ठीक है। सो आई वॉज अ दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी टॉपर all throughout, LSR, Stephens and gold medalist, blah blah blah. The point here is कि हमारा मेन सोर्स ये होता था कि हम सिलेबस तो कंप्लीट कर देते थे, हम PYQs भी लगाते थे। मैं ग्रेजुएशन की बात बता रही हूँ। और मेरे फ्रेंड्स मुझसे ये नहीं पूछते थे, मेरा मजाक बहुत बनता था, वो ये नहीं पूछते थे सिलेबस कंप्लीट हुआ, बोलते तेरा कौन से नंबर वाला रिविजन चल रहा है, और मैं बोलती थी अभी तो चौथा पहुंचा है। मतलब ये नौबत थी। मुझे लगा जब मैं यूपीएससी करने आई तो यही होगा, यहाँ मुझे पता नहीं था कि पहली बार ही सिलेबस नहीं कंप्लीट होता है। There is very difference. This is not a graduation exam. Do not wait for syllabus to be completed to start writing. Newspaper पढ़ना शुरू कर दो। अगर न्यूज़पेपर में आर्टिकल समझ आया, अपना क्वेश्चन क्रिएट करो और उसका आंसर लिखना शुरू कर दो। The more you are writing the answer, the more confidence that you will get. Change your strategy. कोर्स करके आंसर नहीं लिखना है, आंसर लिख के कोर्स कंप्लीट करना है। You will get that confidence. तो वो कहते हैं एक पन दो काज, जब तक कोर्स कंप्लीट होगा आंसर राइटिंग हैज ऑलरेडी बीन डन. So that is how it has to be done. Is that very clear for everyone? How to read and what to read? NCRTs I have already told you. There are two more NCRTs which needs to be done. एक ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी करके है, एक इंडियन पीपल एंड इकोनॉमी है। ये पढ़ना चाहो, वैसे भी इकोनॉमी और ज्योग्राफी के लिए पढ़ोगे, सो ऐसा कुछ एक्स्ट्रा नहीं बता रही हूं। तो दो जो स्टैंडर्ड बुक्स हैं, इंडियन सोसाइटी एंड सोशल चेंज एंड डेवलपमेंट, बस वो पढ़ना है। उसके अलावा आप जो भी न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ना चाहो आप कर सकते हो। अगर आप मुझसे पर्सनली बोलो तो मेरा फेवरेट इंडियन एक्सप्रेस है। ऐसा नहीं है आप हिंदू नहीं पढ़ सकते, ठीक है, आप पढ़ो, बिल्कुल पढ़ो। आई प्रेफर इंडियन एक्सप्रेस। दूसरी चीज है विजन आईएएस का मटेरियल आता है, दैट कैन ऑल्सो बी रेफर्ड। एक डॉक्यूमेंट हम प्रोवाइड कराते हैं जिसमें सारी टर्मिनोलॉजीज का मीनिंग होता है, दैट इज लाइक अ डिक्शनरी काइंड ऑफ अ थिंग, A to Z ऑफ इंडियन सोसाइटी। तो कभी कभी क्या होता है, सपोज करो आपने हर चीज कवर नहीं करी, लेकिन जैसे इसने मुझसे पूछा व्हाट इज प्लूरलिज्म, यूपीएससी ने क्वेश्चन पूछा प्लूरलिज्म पे, अगर आपको प्लूरलिज्म का मतलब पता है, फीचर पता है, एग्जाम्पल पता है, आप आंसर खुद बना लोगे ऑन द स्पॉट इन द एग्जाम। जैसे मैं आपको अपना एक एक्सपीरियंस बताती हूँ। एक बार मुझसे एक क्वेश्चन पूछा था यूपीएससी में एंड द क्वेश्चन वाज ऑन सेरेंडिपिटी। मुझे वो आंसर बिल्कुल नहीं आता था, बट मुझे सेरेंडिपिटी का मतलब पता था। फिर क्या था, 10 नंबर का ही तो आंसर बनाना है। सो द पॉइंट हियर इज कि इतनी आंसर राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस कर लो कि जब अगर आपको सिर्फ कॉन्सेप्ट का मतलब भी पता हो तो भी आप आंसर लिख सकते हो। लेकिन देखो अगर कॉन्सेप्ट का मतलब नहीं पता है ना, तो बहुत रेयर होता है कि सही आंसर लिखा जाए। इज इट मेकिंग सेंस? ठीक है। सो विद दिस वी एंड द सेशन ऑन इंडियन सोसाइटी।